from something to seemingly nothing in a split second. That bubble doesn't just vanish, it transforms. That's how your brain catches signals that most people miss, and why your career might be stuck while others are zooming ahead. They're patterns that you might be brushing off as whatever. Hi, I'm Dr. Amirah Hall. 25 years ago, I was a burned-out executive with a fancy title and a big fat paycheck too. Looks great on paper, right? But something was off. Back in 1991, I lost my dad, my marriage, and my health, all within just 6 months of each other. By 1996, I clawed myself way up to the top 1% in the tech industry. Something was still missing. I kept getting these weird hunches about Egypt, of all places. And when I finally went on a spiritual journey, I literally died. Talk about a wake-up call. When I got home, literally everything fell apart. I was different, but desperately trying to get my life back on track. And then I got fired. So here was a rock bottom sequel for me. While trying to put my life together, I realized that I had been listening to my intuition on and off, but I kept feeling like there was something more. Turns out, when you combine the gut feelings with neuroscience and energy psychology and the quantum field research, success gets way more interesting. I started helping other leaders break through their blocks, and they were landing their dream jobs and doubling their income in record time. So now I've got this system that works like crazy. So 25 years of hundreds of success stories later, I'm helping smart professionals tap into the abilities they didn't even know they had. In the next few minutes, I'm going to help you break down the science between the deja vu moments that are just going to make you go, whoa. Okay? You'll get 3 stupid, simple ways to tap into your gut feelings, spot golden opportunities, and solve problems while your logical brain is still tying its shoes. And by the end, you'll know how to use your built-in superpower that most suit-wearing professionals pretend they don't have, or how they can totally upgrade their work and their life. Through that journey, I discovered something really mind-blowing, that your brain isn't just a computer, it's a quantum processor. And those times that you knew who was calling before you checked your phone, or when that perfect solution just popped into your head, that's your brain connecting to the quantum field, where everything is entangled across space and time. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. I call it your brain's natural superpower. I've helped hundreds of professionals tap into these abilities, like Jason, who went from almost being bankrupt to $9 million in new contracts in just 8 weeks. Or Layla, who transformed from depressed stay-at-home mom to running a $3 million business. For years, I kept dismissing these weird coincidences in my own life, like the time I suddenly knew I needed to call my sister, only discover she'd been in an accident. Or when I'd know which candidate for a company to hire before they even finished the interview. I thought I was just being observant or lucky. But after my near-death experience, these signals got so loud, I couldn't ignore them anymore. And when I tried explaining what was happening to my colleagues, well, they just looked at me and, eye rolls. They thought I was crazy. America's lost it, they were whispering. I know it. I almost believed them, actually, until I started seeing the results of following these intuitive hits. And my clients were landing dream jobs within weeks instead of months. And companies were doubling your revenue after implementing these strategies that literally came to me in dreams and visualizations. So something real was happening. So are you one of those overachievers whose gut feelings keep telling you you're meant for something bigger? Or do you keep hitting walls that no amount of grinding or strategizing is seemingly fixing? Those random hunches and untapped potential? Well, actually, there's neuroscience and quantum science behind that stuff. And I've helped tons of leaders turn those weird gut feelings, which neuroscientists now call somatic, well, that's a fancy word for intuition, into major breakthroughs. So want to blast through what's blocking your brain's natural wisdom? I'd like to invite you to a call with me, and it's a free 15-minute call. We're going to explore your hidden superpowers. Let's talk about those times when your gut knows way more than your spreadsheets. You know what I mean. When something feels off about a deal, let's say the numbers look great, when you instantly click with someone at a meeting before they've even said 2 words. I used to think these feelings were just random noise until I experienced more and more of it myself. And after losing my tech job, I was offered a position that looked perfect. Great pay, great benefits, great title, but something felt off. I almost took it because I needed the money, but at the last minute, I walked away. Everyone thought I was insane, and 3 months later, the company was indicted for fraud. So something in me just knew, but I couldn't explain it then. Here's a clip from Dr. Bruce Grayson, a leading expert in near-death studies, and what he says about the brain.
It's much like a telephone or a radio. The signal, the message, is created somewhere else. But your cell phone is necessary to receive and process the message.
This explains so much about what I've seen with my clients. Your awareness isn't trapped in your head. It's connected to other people and the entire quantum field. Our brains aren't just computers. They're quantum processors. The tiny structures in our brain cells can maintain quantum connections. Scientists are finally catching up to what I experienced firsthand after my near-death experience. These aren't flukes. It's your brain actually reaching beyond your skull. I used to dismiss these experiences myself. And when they started happening more frequently, especially after my near-death experience, I honestly thought I'd lost my mind. But it took years of research and testing before I accepted what was happening. So I'm the biggest critic and skeptic of this. But data backs this up. Our studies show that professionals using these techniques make 43% better decisions and stress out 37% less. So we can actually measure this stuff with brain scans. And what makes this cool is how it helps your brain form new connections. When we stop ignoring the mind-universe connection, we crush our goals, staying true to ourselves. Maybe you thought of a song right before it played. Maybe you felt someone was in trouble before finding out they were. Your brain is processing information your conscious mind hadn't caught up with yet. And if you've ever had an experience like that, drop a "yes, that's me" in the comments. I'd love to hear your weird story. These aren't just coincidences. It's your intuition doing its thing. And I've created ways to strengthen these brain connections instead of writing them off. Let me tell you about Layla from Dubai. When we met, she was seriously depressed. She was a stay-at-home mom, growing kids, and she felt empty at night. Within weeks, we discovered her fascination, obsession with cooking. She had applied to the fancy Cordon Bleu in Paris, and she got in. By coincidence, she was the only student who got private lessons. Imagine that. In Paris, she randomly met her future business partner, introducing her to VIP clients. Within a year, she'd built a 5-star culinary business, making over $3 million a year. All because we followed those weird gut signals instead of ignoring them. So this pattern keeps showing up in my clients, right? Honestly, it showed up in my own life first, right? I'm the biggest skeptic. I had to prove it to myself first. When I stopped trying to climb the corporate ladder and follow my own intuition into doing the work I do with energy psychology and quantum research, my entire career exploded. I went from unemployed and desperate to having a waiting list and speaking engagements. And the difference between breaking through and staying stuck isn't strategy. It's understanding how your brain is picking up this stuff that's invisible to most people. Quantum alignment means your brain tunes into opportunities that match your deepest potentials. Most people's brains are like old radios with terrible reception. They can only catch bits of the quantum field. But when you align, it's like fine-tuning those brain circuits. You pick up stuff that was always there but filtered out by your normal sense of awareness. And this goes way deeper than just positive thinking and having positive thoughts or affirmations. It's about feeling the connection with everything around you. And when you're in that sweet spot, it's like being in the zone, totally present, totally aware. Your brain picks up signals that it would normally miss. Plus, you're clearing out hidden blocks that keep you stuck. I discovered this the hard way. After losing everything twice, I had nothing left to lose. And that's when I finally started listening to those weird signals more consistently. Within months, opportunities appeared that I would have never planned for. People I needed to meet just happened to cross my path. Solutions to problems cleared up in my dreams. Answers just appeared. So here's my simple 3-step framework. First, notice your signals. We train your body to recognize these intuitive nudges that you already get. And this quiets your overthinking, over-analytical self, and it boosts your natural gut feelings. 2, we connect with opportunities. We use simple practices to build a stronger brain connection between your awareness and your specific goals or relationships that you want. This isn't just positive thinking. It creates real connections. And 3, trust your knowing. We help your brain tell the difference between fear-based thoughts and genuine intuition. And this builds confidence so that you can act on these insights in real-world situations. So which part would trip you up the most? Comment below. Is it signals or connection or trust? I know for myself, trust was my biggest challenge. Even after my near-death experience, I'd get these intuitive hits about a client or an opportunity and then talk myself out of it. And that's not how business works. But when I finally trusted what my intuition was telling me, my clients started doubling their income in months instead of years. You might wonder, if this is real, why hasn't it transformed business already? And it has. But only for those who recognize it, because the most successful leaders I've worked with can sense market shifts before they happen. They know which hire will be perfect. They feel when the deal isn't right, even when the numbers look good. The evidence is clear. A recent brain study found 78% of top executives make critical decisions based on intuitive knowing before a logical analysis. And when tested, their brains showed activity in decision-making centers before enough logical information was available. They've been using these brain powers without realizing it. So now science is finally catching up. These principles align with how your brain naturally wants to work. And when you operate from the quantum alignment, your brain naturally makes decisions that serve your highest purpose and helps others. There's a natural ethical framework that emerges. Leading brain scientists are researching quantum consciousness right now. They're studying how quantum effects in brain structures might explain consciousness itself. So what happens when professionals apply these techniques? Jason was ready to crash and burn. His company faced bankruptcy with over $200,000 in uncollectible debt. His brain was fried. He completely rewired his brain. And within just weeks, we recovered his uncollectible funds. And in just 8 weeks, his company signed $9 million in new contracts. His addictions vanished once he connected with the quantum field. All because he learned how to work with his brain signals instead of fighting against them. None of them were psychic. They were practical professionals who learned to work with their brain's natural quantum capabilities. I wasn't either. I was just a sales executive who lost everything. And then I had that weird experience in Egypt and decided to investigate it instead of ignoring it. And that curiosity transformed my life and the lives of hundreds of leaders that I've worked with. Ever just known the right business move without logical evidence? If you have, drop an aha in the comments. So try this simple technique right now. Close your eyes and put your attention on the center of your head. With your eyes closed, imagine a little gold ball, a radiant gold ball in the center of your head. And let that little gold ball roll down into your heart. And take 3 slow, long breaths. This activates your relaxation response and increases your brain coherence. Think of a specific challenge that you're facing and hold that in your awareness for 30 seconds while you feel that warm, glowing light in your heart. And just note if there's any impressions or thoughts that pop up, especially the ones that seem to appear out of nowhere. Now, I use this technique every morning before I see clients, and it helps me tune into what they really need, not just what I think they need. It's how I've helped executives land 6-figure jobs in weeks instead of months. My clients are often shocked when these brain insights lead to their biggest breakthroughs. So just try it, comment. Of course, it's not the whole formula, but it's a beginning to shift your awareness. So here's what to do next. First, notice the intuitive signals already happening in your brain. And maybe you pick up a journal or a notebook just to keep track of them. Second, try this heart center technique before your next 3 important meetings. Quantum entanglement is the brain scientifically verified. It's at the foundation of how our minds work. What we call intuition or gut feelings is now understood through neuroscience of quantum consciousness. And when you connect with this field, you serve others in profound ways that create meaning beyond logical planning. And these principles represent timeless values encoded in our brains. And by aligning with the quantum field, your honor and truth and fulfilling your highest purpose. And those moments of knowing are real brain events. Your consciousness is entangled with opportunities and breakthroughs that matter most. Now you have the practical understanding of how coincidences work in your brain and simple techniques to start using them right away. So remember, you don't need to understand every detail of your brain's wiring. You just need to start noticing and trusting the signals that have always been there. The question isn't whether your brain is experiencing quantum entanglement. It's whether you're working with it consciously. So that's it for today's video. And if you liked the content, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my upcoming videos. And I'd love to hear from you below. I'll look forward to seeing you in the quantum field, or maybe my brain's already connected with yours, right? Spooky.